To start our demo, we will present to you about the brief overview of our product, in which we name it as the Driver Manager System. We can call it shortly as DMS. And who is it for? Like we mentioned in our first report, the first and most important users that will use frequently our DMS frequently are the SMEs and huge enterprises. Mostly the types of companies that use our DMS would be transportation companies and also some other uh, companies that require uh, drivers such as Grab and Uber, that is. And also uh, the second drivers that will use our DMS would be the drivers. So the drivers can also sign in to our DMS and they can create an account and they can use our DMS in order to search for any vacant positions that is offered by the SMEs and huge enterprises. The third and the final users would be general users. They can sign in to our DMS as standard users, and their privileges would be that they can view the profiles of the companies and also some limited profiles of the drivers as well. So what is it for? Like we mentioned also in our report, DMS was is aimed in order to store and manage the driver records. So the companies can use our systems as a platform to store all their driver records digitally into so they can store. They can also perform any other functions such as input, search, and also archive and delete the driver record as well. And for the important information that can be stored into the database, the companies can first of all they can store the personal information of the driver such as their first name and last name, and also some other important information that they can also store it digitally, such as their driver's national ID, the family book, and also their driver license as well. And the second part is that they can evaluate the driver's employees performance. That is for the companies that employ those drivers. So they can uh, put into each and every driver's record whether there is any past crime report and also if their work performance is good or not. So here we can see that in the databases there is also a database that store the reasons why companies stop or fire those drivers, such as why their criminal record and the reasons why they stop they fired drivers, that is. As you can see here, the reasons is the drivers in the criminal report or not, the proof, and yes. And the last one is that for the driver employees that is sign up in our DMS, they can also search for any other employment opportunities like we mentioned before. They can use our DMS in order to search for any vacant positions that is offered by other companies.
So this is my turn. My name is John Bot, and I'm going to talk about the backend side of the driver manager application. And we are using Cell.js, which is divided into API, assets, config, task, and view. And the test is only for our integration and unit testing. And I will first talk about the config roots and these 4 roots in particular. And you can see that all the roots points to user controller and pull all action. It does this because pulling all user takes a lot of time if the database contains, for example, 10,000 users. And so we designed this route in order for the front end to paginate the table by using, if he uses /row, it means he only gets the specific row, and he also could skip and limit those number of users. And before the program access the pull all action, it will check in policies. And when we scroll down, you could see that pull all action requires at least administrative privilege. And when we go into the API policies and admin, you can see that this function takes a token from the header, and then it uses token services to verify the token. And in here, in under services, you could see token service, and it uses JWT. That's the generation token. This is the verification. It uses JWT.verify token and get the payload and assigns into the sales global variable, and so we could access it later. And after the verification, if it's successful and if the coded code my user role in the sales global variable that we assigned earlier is less than or equals to 2, it means at least administrative privilege, we return next into the next function. And it goes into user pull all, and this function takes 3 parameters: roll, skip, and limit as the number of all the numbers. And there are 3 possible responses: in success by request, error with its status code. And it checks the role if it's inbound. For example, 1 for super administrator, 2 for admin, and 3 for standard. And then if it indicates that the currently logged in user is equals to 2, it means an administrator. He or she can only get the user that belongs to his or her company, and so we assign com ID as the company ID in the global variable. And so our application uses waterline ORM, object relational mapping. We can access data by using the model user dot find function, and here we pass a skip and limit in order to skip the number of user and limit the number of user we get. And where is the where clause? We only want to get the specific role, users that have this role, and users that belong to this company. And if the super administrator logged in, this function will get ignored because my user role when the super administrator login is equal to 3. Oh no, to 1. And so com ID will be unassigned, and when it's unassigned, sales will skip this line too. And dot populate means that if the table is related, that have relationship with the user table, it will also retrieve those tables as well, and it will merge it as a JavaScript object. And when the data is retrieved, it exits success with the users as users. And those model is located in model folder, and these are the model, and this is our user model, and that's basically the file structure of our backend application.
Hello, in this video I am going to demonstrate the key and scenarios of how different users use this application. I am going to divide the video into 3 cases because we have 3 types of users. First, let's begin with subadmin. So here we are in the sign up and login page. I am going to log in quickly. Okay, so here we are in the superadmin account. So superadmin has access to all information of the platform. When logged in as superadmin, I can see all users, drivers, companies, and I can do various operations on these users, drivers, and companies. So as users, I can search specific users, I can edit, I can delete, as I also can add users, same as drivers. So I can see all the drivers that are currently working for specific companies. So Powerless library is working for Beyond VIP, and the location is in the Cao. I can also search, I can also add new driver, edit them, as well as archive to the archive folder. I can also see all the companies that are currently registered into this platform. Alright, so let's move on to companies admin. I am going to log in as Cambodia Post Van admin. So just a moment. So I'm going to log out first. I'm going to log in as this admin. Alright, so we are now in as company admin. So as company admin, I can only have access specifically to my users that I have added and drivers. Same as superadmin, I can search, add, edit users and drivers. So let's walk through this. So I can see my company's information. I can see all the users that is registered into this platform. So yeah, I can edit users, I can add user, I can search specific user. I also can delete. I can also see drivers in my company and also drivers in others company. So I can see buy on VIP, location in Kakong. I cannot edit these drivers because they are not belong to my company. I also can archive my my drivers. So finally, I am going to log in as standard users. So I'm going to log in as this users. Wait a moment, please. I'm going to log out. I'm going to log in as this users. Okay, so this is the standard user. So standard users has no access to other users, just drivers. So this type of users cannot do a lot of operation. He or she can search for drivers, but cannot edit or archive any drivers. Okay, so this is all the different users that our platform has so far. Thank you for the video.
Now I will walk you through the structure of the front end that I have been working on with React.js. So ignore these folders, it's not important. The hottest stuff that happened is in the source folder. So in the source folder, I want to walk you through the drivers table because that's most of the actions that we have achieved so far. So these are the drivers table. So React.js are built by combination of components of the page, and the whole structure, that everything in React.js uses JavaScript. There's only one HTML file, which is the indexed HTML file in the public folder. Right. So what happened in the drivers table? So I wanted to explain to you one important feature that we implement on the drivers table, which is the server-side pagination. The problem is that when the first step, we just fetch all the data from the server. But we imagine the time that when the company implement our system, they must have, for example, they have 1,000 of drivers information. So if the system fetch all the data all at once from the server and upload it and populate into the table, the user might have internet with low bandwidth. So most likely they will fail downloading all the data from the server, so it makes the system fail. So we have a solution to the problem, is that we look at this constant method. So with the solution, we only fetch a certain amount of information drivers at a time. So in this case, we only fetch 10 from 0 to 10 drivers at a time. So in this URL, we only call to the URL, like this is the URL of the API where all the drivers are stored, and we call it, okay, we want to fetch the drivers from 0 to 10, so please only give me 10 drivers. And done. After we get the information, we have to populate it into the table. So here we push the information that we have into the table. Image, so you get is the path for the images. Alright, that is very good, right? And another feature that I want to tell you is where we store the photo. Right here, so right here we have the Cloud Dictionary URL. So we'll be using Cloud Dictionary Cloud to store the photo because we won't have enough storage on our server for now. So when the user upload the information of drivers, this method is called the insert driver method. They will create a form by taking the picture that they browse and post it into this Cloud Dictionary URL. So after the image is uploaded, the photo will be stored in the folder of Cloud Dictionary preset that we set up in our Cloud Dictionary account. And these are just some the security that we have to get past, because if we don't have this, the browser will not allow us to post anything into the server. So these are the main features that I would like to tell you for now with the front end. And in the future, we'll try to implement other features. And what we have in mind for now is we want to add another feature which enables users to export PDF of the driver's information out. So we'll try to make the features work and also fix the necessary bugs that we have right now, because right now we have many bugs that we haven't fixed yet, such as the security with the front end and the server side. So that is all for my presentation, and I hope you get what I explained so far. Thank you.